With the draft coming up, I kind of mentioned it before we got going here. Findlay's a program that you guys have sent quite a few guys to the pros in like very recent history, last decade. And whether that is the NFL or some of these other leagues that have popped up, you're giving guys opportunities at the next level. I would assume that as a guy who has recruited and brought a lot of young potential student athletes to the university, that has to become a big part of your pitch. And knowing that for these young student athletes, the pathway is already there. And the teams and these different leagues know to look at this school because we've got quality products coming out of here.
Yeah, I think that I remember way back in 2018, thank you, redshirt and COVID years.
Yeah.
They were here at Jason Moore and, who played 4 years with the Chargers and a couple of our other guys. But they looked at a freshman offensive tackle, Mike Jarrell, and he's got his pro day this Wednesday down at Ohio State.
Know all about Mike.
The one guy said, he goes, Coach, I just came from, I'll leave it as an unnamed SEC school. He goes, their freshman linemen don't look like him. But and so that's where we've been able to, all the credit though goes to the kids that have developed themselves, but also our strength staff, Kobe. I mean, our strength coach has been here for longer than me. And he's Findlay born and bred. He was raised here. He played baseball here. His wife works in the community, and he's been offered opportunities in the Big Ten and the NFL in the last 5 years and turned them down. This is his home. He loves watching guys. Our strength and conditioning program is unbelievable. He gets them in a position to succeed. And Chad Wagner's his name, and we're so fortunate to have him. I mean, the weight room's where it's at.
That is big, and that's maybe an underappreciated part of when you talk about that pro development, because it's very easy to understand that you're going to have to mold the 17 or 18-year-old that's coming into a college program and still filling out a frame. And not all guys are like Jarrell that come in and look like an SEC offensive lineman. There's a lot of guys that need those couple of years to develop. The redshirt year is definitely a large benefit in disguise for many guys at the college level. But then you hear about guys going from college to the NFL, and in some cases, not all, but some cases, they got to break them all the way back down again to build them back up the way they see fit. And so if you can, you're not going to pass that with flying colors, but if you can mitigate that period of adjustment or even just shorten that because you're physically prepared and you've gone through some of these same deals, once again, you're setting yourself up, or you're setting your student athletes up for success and a shorter adjustment period at the next level, which is maybe arguably just as important as getting there in the first place, is just staying there and finding a spot on the roster. And you just had a guy who semi-recently made the Colts 53-man, which is an awesome move. And then you look at the now UFL with the Battlehawks, and just like some great examples of recent guys from your squad. But talk about some guys in this year's class. You already brought up Jarrell. I was going to bring him up. You beat me to the punch, so congrats there. But also the tight end position, a guy like Ragerman has made some noise, obviously, respectably so, the numbers and production that he's had. What is it about these guys that makes them some ideal prospects?
Yeah, I mean, Mike and Mike, they were our guys. Offensive player of the year in the league, and offensive lineman here. Ragerman is a kid that he'll be at Toledo tomorrow, and obviously they have a corner who's being talked about as going in the top 10 of the draft right now. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of eyes in Toledo, Ohio tomorrow, and I think Mike's going to show really, really well. Mike Ragerman, the tight end. Now I'm not gonna tell you what he told me he would run the 40 in, because I mean, they'll show him and give him a speeding ticket if he runs that fast. But he is very confident in his prep. Ragerman's a kid that was a state champion wrestler up in New York, and grew up in Western New York, not far from where I grew up. And I think if he was down here in Ohio, he might have gotten some more attention coming out of high school. Okay. And was a guy that just, developed throughout the program and came in as a 225 pounder. He played at 255 pounds. And has unbelievable ball skills, and is a tough competitor. And I think, I told all the scouts when they came in, hey, if you're looking for a hybrid, and he's an off the ball guy, he's going to measure in at 6'3" on the button, 255 pounds. He's not 6'5" on the ball, hand in the dirt guy. But if you want to move him, we never took him off the field. And so, I expect him to have a really big day tomorrow. Be excited to follow up and see how he does. And then Jarrell, played in the Hula Bowl and did his training down in Fort Myers the last couple months. And I expect him to test really well down at Ohio State. So it'll be good.
Hell yeah. Good for Mike and Mike, man. But talking about the Mike that catches passes and getting into Toledo, how much of a challenge is it for those guys to get maybe into some of those pro days? And obviously it helps when you have some of the accolades that he has. Is that more on their representation and their agents to get them in there, or connecting them with the scout, or does that have anything to do with the coaching staff? Talk us through that process.
Yeah, a lot of times, and I don't want to speak for every school that hosts a pro day, but a lot of times what you're dealing with, Kobe, is there needs to be a request, right? By an NFL team, i.e. a scout saying, we'd like to see this guy. Because at the end of the day, if you told me, hey, give me 6 months, I can go work out for an NFL team, I may try to do it still, right? It's not for everybody. It's not. So, if you get that invite, if you get that, hey, we want to see you, then that's what's going to happen. And that's what's happened in Mike's case, both Rigerman and Giroux.
Yeah, I love it, man. And like I said, those guys, two guys that are probably pretty easy to vouch for because they have that just wealth of experience in the film and everything to back them up. But for some guys, it is a little bit more difficult. We've talked a lot about some D3, and we'll talk more later in this episode about some NAIA guys that are trying to make that jump. And again, the further you get down, there's still dudes that can play, but it just becomes harder and harder to crack it and get into one of those settings. Lots of applause to the guys that do make it happen. With that being said, had the Colts and the Lions come by the facility the other day to check out some of your guys. How did that come about?
That's something that they do every spring.
Awesome.
And that's just it's just a way to get numbers out there, right? And they work throughout their organization, and those numbers get shared out, not just with those teams, but with other teams in the league. And, we have some rising seniors that went out and ran and put down some really good times. So we're excited to see what they do coming back in the fall, and, we'll go from there.